I wanna go home and do nothing. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to talk about The Old Curiosity Shop. The Old Curiosity Shop is a 1995 Disney television release. It is directed by Kevin Connor, cinematography by Douglas Milsom, editing by Barry Peters, music by Mason Daring, and it's written by John Goldsmith. All people I've covered in previous videos. They will be listed, linked in the description. The film is based off a book called The Old Curiosity Shop by Charles Dickens, released in 1841. Shall we compare? Nell lives with her grandfather in a shop of odds and ends. Nell has one friend named Kit. He works at the shop and she's teaching him to write. Her grandfather's determined to give her a good life, so he gambles often to try and win big. Grandfather borrows a lot of money from Daniel Quilp, an evil moneylender. Grandfather gambles all the money away, so Quilp seizes the property and evicts them. Quilp is a dirty piece of poo. Grandfather has a breakdown, so Nell takes them to the Midlands to be beggars. Frederick, Nell's older brother, is convinced that grandfather has a fortune saved away for her. He convinces Dick Swiveller to find Nell and marry her. I have to say it, Dick Swiveller? They decide to work with Quilp, who knows there isn't a fortune. Quilp arranges for Dick to be a clerk at his lawyer's office. Dick befriends the maidservant. Nell gets her grandfather to a far-off village at the cost of her health. Kit found a new job with Mr. and Mrs. Garland. Kit is contacted by a single gentleman looking for Nell. Kit's mother and this gentleman search for Nell, but they find Quilp. Quilp has Kit framed as a thief. Dick and the maidservant prove Kit's innocence. Quilp is hunted and dies. Mr. Garland discovers where Nell is and takes Kit and the single gentleman to her. Nell has died, and her grandfather waits by her grave every day until he dies. The end. There are tiny differences, but for the most part, the film's pretty faithful to the book from what I can tell. The film stars Sally Walsh, Peter Ustinov, Tom Courtenay, William Mannering, James Fox, and Adam Blackwood. Sally Walsh plays Nell and is best known for Heartbeat, Coronation Street, EastEnders, and this. Peter Ustinov plays grandfather, and I covered him in the video about Robin Hood. The link will be in the description. Tom Courtenay plays Quilp and is best known for 45 Years, Dr. Zhivago, The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, and Nicholas Nickleby. William Mannering plays Kit and is best known for Master and Commander of the Far Side of the World, BBC Learning True Stories, and Urban Gothic. James Fox plays Single Gentleman, and he's best known for Sherlock Holmes, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, A Passage to India, and Sexy Beast. Adam Blackwood plays Dick Swiveller and is best known for James Bond and Agent Under Fire, By the Sword Divided, Jeeves and Wooster, and The World Is Not Enough. I want to start off by saying this movie is 3 hours long, and I had zero interest in watching a 3-hour long movie, so that might affect my opinion of this film. I've heard many people say it's a very good adaptation because it's faithful to the book, and all books that are lengthy should have long movie adaptations or show adaptations, whatever you like. All of that aside, it doesn't have to be 3 hours, okay? The movie, so much of the same stuff happens in the movie, and it's pretty faithful to the book from what I can see. There is no maidservant that Dick Swiveller, befriends. The maidservant is not in the film, and I don't really know any other details verbatim in the book, because I know the book is actually quite beefy because it was released in installments. But for the most part, it seems pretty faithful to the book. And the only thing that kept this, the movie, it's just the same thing happening over and over again in a different town. So I was a little bored for 3 hours. Maybe the first hour, I was pretty okay. It was interesting. I liked kind of what was happening. And then the last half hour is excellent. The last half hour is jam-packed with action. It's when they confront Quilp. It's when they go find Nell and her grandfather and all that. But the hour and a half in the middle, a little slow, fam. Parent deaths in this film. It's obvious that Nell doesn't have her parents, and they do talk about them in the past tense, but they, from what I could tell, never explicitly say that her mother and father have died. They talk about them in the past tense, they talk about what they were like, but they never say, oh, they died, oh, it's terrible how they left. They never explicitly say, unless I missed something, which is very possible because it was a 3-hour movie and I was a little bit bored. So it's very possible I missed it. If I missed it, and for sure it was said on screen. It has to be said. It can't be they were talking about them in the past tense. Whatever, it has to have been my mother died, my father died, they passed away, I lost them. It's got to be something like that. If you know for sure they say that, comment down below and I'll correct the parent death count. But as of right now, I'm not going to up the parent death because it's a inconspicuous or grayed out area of if they've just left or if they died. I can almost infer that they absolutely died, but I wasn't seeing or said on screen. The film Quilp is deplorable. I thought, what's his name? Tom? I thought he did a fantastic job as Quilp. He was so vile. Sally Walsh did a great job as Nell. I thought everyone did a great job as their roles. Kit, it was my favorite character by far. But the film is too long, in my opinion. Everybody relax. And it just wasn't good. I wanted it to be better. And it's a giant downer. I am so happy I read the book summary and had to summarize the book for the fun thing we do before I watched this movie. Because, oh my god, if I had watched a 3-hour movie without knowing that Nell dies in the end, I would have been livid, and this film would be receiving like a 0 because of my opinion on it. So, I'm very happy I read the book summary beforehand because I was prepared for Nell to die, and she does die, and it was quite sad. It almost got me because of Kit's reaction, because I really love Kit. But otherwise, the movie, everything about it's kind of fine. Like, it was well written, it was well acted, but it just, it didn't have to be 3 hours because the same crap was happening for an hour and a half. They get to a new town, and they'd be like, oh my god, are we finally out of Quilp's reach? And then they'd see Quilp, who came in on a carriage, and they'd be like, oh no! And then their grandfather would steal money and gamble. And then they finally get to where they're going. Like, it was... That's everything I have for the old Curiosity Shop. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. Probably mostly because I am so mad that she dies in the end. Like, that's just such garbage. I get it, whatever, but no, that's not it. Oh, the grandfather doesn't die in the movie, so maybe, he goes on living because his brother is... The single gentleman turned out to be his brother, and it's like, let's be together, or whatever. I don't know, whatever. My final rating is 5... shoes? I don't know. 5 shoes out of 10. Our total movie count is... Parent death, total and cry count are still the same. If you want to keep up with the movie I'm watching when, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, you'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put up videos every Monday and Friday and sometimes Wednesday. Join my Patreon. I mentioned last time how we're doing Patreon requests for movies that aren't Disney movies that I will cover like a Disney movie. Over there, you have to be a $13 patron or higher in order to file for a Patreon request. I'd love to see you guys over there so I can start doing requests. That'd be really, really fun. It's a fun little bonus. Okay. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe, and show you are, see you, and don't be Quilp about it. I'm tired, and I wanna go and love my puppy. So, look at my hat hair. I'm gonna go and love my puppy.